Hello, Eyal Levi here, and I'm going to unbox Anonymous by Gemini Syndrome, which was produced by Kane Churko and will be mixed on Nail the Mix by Kane Churko. Let's get into it. First of all, just so you guys know, there had to be some buses made here. Just because there's so many tracks in this, I had to do a little bit of pre-organization, or actually, my friend John Douglas did the pre-organization for me. Thank you, John. But it's just too many tracks. It's over 150 tracks. So in order to be able to do this unboxing, I had to organize it a little bit. But as you'll be able to see, still no plugins on it, and I'll explain what this trim plugin is real quick. These guitars, these are all guitars, and let me find a rhythm guitar to show you what I'm talking about and what this is for. Basically, the way Kane does this is he will put the amped tone and the DI on a stereo, just left and right. So you're hearing the guitar on the left right there, the Kemper. If I take off this trim plugin, you're going to hear the DI on the right and the Kemper on the left. Well, actually, you'll hear them both on the left because of the panning, but he sends them as a stereo file. So what we've done is we've taken the trim plugin in stereo mode and then right here selected which channel we want to mute and then turn the volume all the way down. That way you're only hearing the amped signal. And I got it wrong. It's actually the right is the Kemper signal and the left is the DI. And that's the same for all these guitars. So if you're using Pro Tools, the trim plugin is a good way to not have to break these up into mono and to keep them organized. And that's actually a really good thing because as we go through this, you'll see, like I said before, this is a ton of tracks. How many guitars is this? It's so many guitars. And a ton of synth. Thankfully it's printed for us. Percussion, bass dive, bass drops, claps, of course the claps, group claps, some loops, something called low stomp, all kinds of stuff. I heard that it's over 65 tracks worth of vocals. So here we go with vocals. And I'm going to take this lead vocal double and I'm going to put it right there just so that it makes more sense to my eyes. And I think that these right here as well. Okay, yeah. Just makes a little more sense to me visually. Either way, a hell of a lot of tracks. These are the background vocals. And if we go to the top, here are the drums. Kick, snare. I don't know what this snare, up 57 snare, I don't know what these are. We're going to explore this all. Reverse snares, got some toms, something massive. We'll find out, won't we? It looks like every single cymbal has been tracked on its own. This is very hard to do, by the way. If you're good at tracking, you'll know that this takes an exceptionally good drummer to be able to pull off and to make it sound like a cohesive performance. This is a very, very clean way of doing production, but you do end up with a ton of tracks. Okay, it looks like we do have overhead tracks. I'm just making the waveforms a little bigger. As you can see, we also have crash tracks. So the overheads are not just the overheads are not crash mics, basically. They're real overheads, and you have individual crash mics. Only 2 tracks for bass. Look at that. and then we're back to guitars. So let's get into this. We have kick Brian. All right, snare Brian. Remember, this is more like a pop track than, say, one of the other months that's like your standard fare metal track. You have to approach this a lot more like a pop track, where it's just layers and layers and layers, and you're using these individual layers to build up to something. When you start to put it all together, that should sound really nice. Overheads now. Overheads more. And the room. I would maybe turn down the room just a little bit, but we're not mixing this, we're just unboxing it. I just unmuted everything. And for the amount of tracks it has, it does not sound like a total disaster, which is amazing. Let's see, we got some snare reverses. Nice. And these are all cut off already for you. All these toms. It's like a bunch of toms plus their samples. Your hi-hats have already been cleaned out. You are going to have to do a lot of work in this session if you're using a DAW that can only take like 128 tracks, or you're using a CPU that can't handle it. You are going to have to do some work to consolidate tracks down. Like, for instance, you could probably consolidate lots of these cymbal tracks down to a stereo track, for instance. But that aside, this is given to you in a very, very clean way. Everything's already cut out, cleaned up. It's very nice. Now, this is very different because it seems like everything, every like instrument kind of has its own overhead track, so you can, which is what's really cool about that is, you know, if you're looking at the overhead, this hi-hat part, so I'm playing the overheads and rooms and the hi-hat. That's the verse. And it's a whole different feel than when it goes to this. Pre-chorus, and then a whole different feel when it goes to this. And so what's really, really cool about them having split up these tracks like this by section of the song somewhat is that you can go ahead and create a whole different sound for these verses and pre-choruses without having to worry about bypassing or unbypassing plugins. It forces you to do that sort of thing. And that's actually something that we talk about a lot on Nail the Mix, which is that you don't have to have a static mix. Set and forget is not good. And especially with a track of this size, you want to have a mix that's dynamic and moving, you know, changing scenes basically when you go from part to part. And the way that this is laid out for you will make that a lot easier. So let's move on to bass. Looks like we have, I'm going to make the waveforms a little more normal again. So bass DI Kemper and bass DI Kemper. Let's check it out. That's actually pretty cool. I'm going to solo the drums and the bass so we can hear them together. So much scrolling. Sounds like there's a wah or something on the bass. And it's just great that it's already given to you the way that the producer intended. You don't have to guess this stuff. You just have to mix it. Just good, tight, in the pocket bass playing. You really can't ask for much more. See what's up with the guitars. I'm going to add those onto these drums and bass that are soloed. As you can see, this is basically a lot of little pieces that are put together to create one bigger sound. And as you start adding more and more of these tracks, you start to see how it all works together. That's kind of cool. The guitar plays the riff, and then the bass responds, and then responds again, but that time with the wah. Check it out. That time they add the guitar during the response part to make it a little bit more interesting before it goes to the pre-chorus. Like I said, you need to start thinking about this song more like a radio rock song or a pop song than a metal song. All right, let's go back to this verse a little more. Let's see what's going on right here. We've got some more DIs for guitars. Let's see what these are all about. So a whole orchestration, basically. Pretty cool as you start adding it all in. And let's see what synths are going on too. We've got verse synth print 2, print 3, and print 4, I'm guessing. gonna solo some of these synths a little. Let's hear what they sound like. And that's cool. That follows the guitars. Let's check out the intro. Now I know there's a guitar that goes here. Okay, here we go. Clean guitar. So as you can see, lots of these synths, sometimes they kind of do their own thing, but all in all, they're basically creating layers for what's already there. So your balance work is going to have to be impeccable because you want this stuff to be there and making everything sound bigger and smoother. But at the same time, you don't want it to overtake your guitars, which is very, very easy to do. So your balance skills are going to have to be on point for this. See what the chorus pad is. Nice. And then I guess we're back to the clean guitar flute thing. And let's see what this is. The bridge synth. Great. Oh, how could I forget the percussion? All right. When you know you should be. See what we got. We got claps. We got group claps. We got shakers. Stomps. I'm going to turn up the percussion a little bit, and then I'm going to bring back the, the guitars and bass for this, so you can hear the, this verse with guitars, bass, drums, and loud stomps, just so you can hear what they're doing, because I think that in the actual mix, they're turned down some. When you have this many tracks, you have to make decisions as to which tracks are going to be prominent and which are not. And not everything can be prominent. But while we're doing unboxing, I can show you how cool this stuff is and how great this programming is. I'm gonna turn up the low stomp too. Obviously, you would never want it that loud. I'm not even suggesting that. This is not a mix. I'm just showing you how cool of a part it is and what kind of motion it adds to everything that's going on. You may have already thought it sounded complete the way it was, but then you start adding the stomp and clap and the shakers, and it just gets like an insane motion to it. let's hear what other percussion we've got here. I'm going to just solo the percussion and keep on going. Got a loop of some sort. I have no idea what that is, but it sounds cool. I guess that this is the chorus. Remember, I have those tracks blasted loud right now, just so you can hear them. Okay, I'm going to turn them down now so that I don't annoy myself. I just wanted you guys to hear what they contributed to the music.
Realize everything's equal, and all of us, we are everyone, we are one in the same. We are everything, we are everywhere, we are everyone, and we don't need a name.
There's a lot for you to dig into here. We haven't even touched on vocals, so let's get started with that. Like I said before, you've got 65 plus tracks of vocals. These here are just the leads, and I guess they're doubles and harmonies, and here's your backgrounds. You have a lot to work with. And again, for those of you guys with less powerful DAWs or CPUs, this is the perfect place to make some stereo submixes. You do not need all these background vocals as individual tracks if your computer can't handle it. Make a submix, be happy, move on.
Do you ever find yourself in the backseat? Look inside!
Sounds like a lot of doubles to me. Which again, this, like I said, this is more like a pop production than a metal production with the amount of doubles. So I'm guessing that these are doubles right here.
We are anonymous! We are all of us! We are everyone! We are one in the same! We are everything! We are everywhere! We are everyone!
Yeah, I don't hear any harmonies on that. That sounds all like the main line.
There's an infidel! Take a look in the mirror.
So I'm guessing that when we add this, we're going to start to hear harmonies.
Do you ever find yourself in the backseat?
Wow, I'm psychic.
Do you ever find yourself in the backseat when you know you...
So basically, it seems like you have 4 layers of every vocal, regardless of if it's a harmony or a lead. So this right here would be one note, well, I mean one harmony. This is another one. This is one harmony, and this is a different harmony on the same part.
We are anonymous! We are all of us! We are everyone! We are one in the same!
Sounds good too. Let me solo these vocals.
We are anonymous! We are all of us! We are everyone! We are one in the same! We are everything! We are everywhere! We are everyone! Now we don't need a name! Anonymous! We don't need a name! Anonymous! We all die the same!
All right, that has been my unboxing of Anonymous by Gemini Syndrome, which is going to be mixed by Kane Churko on Nail the Mix, July 2018. As you guys can see, there is a lot to dig into on this song. Happy mixing.